Hey everyone, this is Manly Badass Hero, and welcome to This Is Not Your House, which is a horror game, where you come home, only to find that someone else is living in your house. Raj always knew if he were attacked, it would happen on the walk from his car to his home. So he readied his house key before stepping out of the vehicle, keeping it ready as he walked to the trunk of his car. He hangs his groceries from his wrists, keeping his fingers free to open the front door without fumbling. As Raja makes his way to the porch, his eyes start darting between the house's corners. He read about a young woman being ambushed in her driveway the week before. He tries to put it out of his mind, accounting how many steps it takes him to reach the front door. But he can't stop listening for the sound of someone rushing toward him. There's a gentle breeze and the white noise of distant traffic. Roger assures himself he's right to remain vigilant. It only takes a split second for someone to get the drop on you. Steady with the key now, smooth as fast. Roger's key slides in on the first try. It won't turn? Roger removes his key and inspects it. It's engraved with a large H, definitely the correct key. Roger tries the key again. Locked, jam, broken maybe. Roger takes a step away from the door and scans the area for suspicious persons. He sees no one. He releases his grasp on the key and leaves it in the lock. He drops his grocery bags in the porch. He tries furiously to turn, pull and push on the key and door handle every which way. Without success. Roger hears something inside. A shadow passes by the window. What are you doing in my house? Looks like someone's silhouette through the curtain. Roger pounds on the door. Open up this instant. The police are on the route. The door unlocks from the inside. Can I help you? You can start by getting out of my house. This house does not belong to you. Check the deed, lady. A deed is only a piece of paper. That doesn't work that way. One that proves this house is my property. Personal property is a social construct. Oh, okay. Those who inhabit a space own it. Just let her out of the house. Just give up. Here. Sure, just let her have it. Keep the house. I'll take my car and head down to the station. Which car is that? The one I pulled up in. Was it now your car? I didn't notice. The only one sitting in the driveway. But sir, that's my car. It doesn't work this way. What the hell? Roger turns just to see the car he calls his own, reversing to the street. How? You like a ninja? You just teleport behind me? He sees the homeowner wave to him from the driver's seat and disappears down the road. Here, let me help you with that. Roger tries to run after his car, but the homeowner grabs hold of his shirt. She slips it off with one deft sweep. Wait, no, you're not. Roger spins around, trying to grab hold of his button-down. He feels goosebumps forming on his arms as his nipples harden. Give me my shirt back! No need for these either. The homeowner grabs the hem of Roger's pants. Why are you? Is it just everything belongs to you here? And yanks backward, knocking Roger flat on his back. This is your domain. Your attacks can't miss. The homeowner quickly slides off his pants, the remaining articles on this person. Roger lies dazed with his head pounding from the collision with the porch. Roger wraps his arms around his head and groans. The homeowner glides into the house, slamming the door behind her. Oh god. Roger pulls himself to his feet. He cups his genitals in his hands and tries to keep warm. He shakes from the cold. We have an issue here. Wait her out, find help. Find help! Driven by the belief he cannot resolve the house theft on his own, Roger runs off to find help. Running down the road, he spots a police cruiser on patrol. Roger begins wildly flailing his arms and calling out for the vehicle to stop. The cruiser comes to a halt An officer steps out from the passenger side. Roger sprints towards him, shouting, attempting to explain the situation. The officer enters the defensive stance and draws his weapon on Roger. "Sir, put those 2 guns up. And your 3rd gun down." Roger freezes in place, thrusting his hands into the air, among other things. "Don't move! Hands! Let me see those hands!" "They're up. I'm cooperating." "Suspect is uncooperative." "I'm cooperating! What am I, a suspect of?" "Turn around." "I said turn around right now!" Roger complies. "Walk backward towards me." Roger walks backward toward the officer. "Not so fast." Roger stops, in a lethal game of red light, green light. "Did I say stop?" Roger does not speak, and he does not move. He does not want to alarm the officer. "Come on. Hurry up." Roger very slowly walks backward toward the officer. "I said slowly, not slow motion. Pick up the pace." This reminds me of a certain video. Roger does not hasten his pace, preferring to aggravate the officer, rather than do something that could be seen as threatening. That's it. The sound of the officer's thudding footsteps draw nearer to Roger. Roger hears cuffs being readied behind him. He feels the cold metal press against his wrists. The officer thrusts Roger against the hood of his car. Roger can feel the cuffs tightening further, cutting off circulation. "Please, officer. I'm cooperating." The officer yanks Roger off the hood, stringing him with the chain of his cuffs. Nell digs into Roger's wrist as he fails to anticipate the officer's movements. The officer pushes Roger into the backseat and slams the door. The officer quickly climbs to the front seat and jumps on the radio with dispatch regarding Roger's arrest. Are you owned by this homeowner now? Homeowner owns the police. Roger's naked body wriggles for several minutes against the lever in the back seat while he attempts to sit up. The officer brings his fist down on the car's dash. "Keep it down back there." A few tears stream down Roger's face in the dark. The tears make him feel ashamed. They cannot suppress how angry and helpless he feels. "Please, someone has broken into my house. Look, we're passing by right now. Just pull over." The old "someone stole my house" routine. Save it for the judge, junkie. "I'm not junkie. I'm a senior citizen and I need help." "You don't see many elderly junkies, huh?" "What are you talking about?" The officer sit in total silence as they cruise toward the station. Roger sits back and tries not to exacerbate the situation further. "So you're telling us that you went out shopping and returned home to find your locks were changed?" "That's right." Then I started pounding on the door and some strange woman answered. "Strange? How?" "What do you mean? She stole my house!" "Right, but what has that made her strange to you?" "How calm she was about it all. Like I was a perfect stranger. Like she belonged there." The officers glance at one another. "So you found your locks changed and a strangely calm and comfortable woman at the door?" "Yes, but she was in my car as well." Actually, they mentioned like a thing about us being a senior. I actually wonder if the twist of this game is to be we have dementia or something. "So she left your house?" "No, she was in the house and I turned around and saw her driving away in the car. At the same time." "A pair of twins, maybe?" "No, it was her. She was in the car and the house all at once." "So what happened to your clothes?" "She took them, right on the porch when I turned to see the car taking off. She slipped my shirt off." "Without you even asking?" "It's not funny. I was assaulted." "Sir, if a woman came up to me with a smile and asked for my clothes, I wouldn't report her." "She knocked me down and ripped off my pants." "Alright, sir. How much have you had to drink this evening?" "Not a drop." "So you're telling me you tried to get into someone else's house in a confused state, but you saw 2 of the same person and wandered the streets naked, but you haven't had anything to drink?" "That's not what I said. That isn't how it happened." "You've already given your statement. All I need to know is how much you were drinking." Whoa, there's other answers here. "Insist you're sober." "I was not drinking. It's true what I said. Every word of it." "But note that that subject is not cooperating, and we haven't been able to positively identify him." "My name is Roger Cormack. I've already told you that." "Sir, you'll be transferred to a new facility in the morning. You can explain the situation to them." "What kind of facility?" "The kind that has the resources necessary to help someone like you." "Oh dear God." Roger spent the remainder of his life being shelved between state mental institutions. None were able to properly identify what ailed him, Without a diagnosis and treatment plan in place, they were unable to release him. He raved about the woman who stole his house and his car. The staff learned to tune out his ravings as they did with all the other patients, content to consider his ramblings those of a madman. Unspecific nonsense as you hear pressing your ear to any patient's cell door. End credits. Confess to drunkenness. Roger hangs his head in his hands. You're right, officer. I've had a few too many tonight. I don't know what I'm saying. It's alright, old-timer. Just be glad it's not dementia, see? I'm very grateful. Well, you can spend the night in the drunk tank, and we'll release you in the morning. Thank you, officers. Roger spent the last few hours of the evening resting on his cell bench. It was rigid and uncomfortable, but Roger had learned to deal with discomfort in his service. True to his word, the officer released Roger first thing in the morning. Roger received a pair of sweatpants from the lost and found to replace his jumpsuit. He had no phone or wallet and no idea what direction his house was in. He'd never been downtown, and didn't know how to find his way out. He focused on finding shelter and food. He spent each day meeting his fundamental needs. Most passerbys refused to look at him. The rest were too frightened by his appearance to speak with him. Everyone kept a safe distance from him. He faded into the crowds entirely out of memory. End credits. Got vagrant ending. Alright, so we're back here. Let's, wait her out. Roger was not one to bully others or be bullied himself. He stood resolutely on his porch like any respectable citizen would. He spent the first 3 hours howling and pounding on his own front door. As it grew late and cold, Roger began to lose feeling in his extremities. His pounding became limp and inconsistent, and his hollows turned to hoarse whispers. He became warm and a bit drowsy. Roger reasoned it was best to get some rest and resume his valiant opposition in the morning. Morning did not come for Roger. He sat on the porch, curled up, and nestled his head against the front door. It was the comfiest and sleepiest Roger had ever been. The homeowner discovered Roger at dawn and called the police. Cause of death was determined to be hypothermia. He was tagged as a John Doe and placed in a morgue to await cremation. Roger's final moments were warm, and he was not afraid. So final option is... Wait, no. We haven't tried break down the door. Let's try break down the door. Roger's a strong man, but not strong enough to break down a door with his bare feet. So instead he takes a swing at the door's window. There's something warm and slippery pour down his arm as he fumbles with the deadbolt. Even blood? He manages to get a grip on the lock and slide it open. Roger opens the door and shuffles inside. He hears heavy footsteps from the floor above. He steps indicate the homeowner is headed for the stairs. Shot. As she found his shotgun. Roger only had a moment to act. Arm yourself. Roger darts to the knife block in the kitchen a mere 15 feet away. He yanks out the butcher's knife and wheels around heading for the stairs. A yellow flash and flecks a cinder. Oh my god. Roger lies dead, practically eviscerated by his own shotgun. The homeowner calls the police to report the incident. What is left of the body is labeled a John Doe. It is cremated by the town according to protocol. The local paper released a story about the incident, labeling Roger the unidentified drifter, and the homeowner as a neighborhood hero. Some locals caught this story and recognized Roger from the area. A correction was printed, but it portrayed Rogers as an unstable addict to account for his state of undress and violent behavior. Local officers used Roger as a cautionary tale at school assemblies to display the dangers associated with drug abuse. The homeowner was heralded throughout the state as an example of a homeowner who defended themselves. The police were nowhere in sight. She was paid handsomely to act as the keynote speaker for a variety of clubs and events for the next few years. Damn. Alright. Seek shelter? With no immediate means of retaking his house, Roger thinks it's best to find somewhere to rest. He takes off into the woods in search of shelter from the elements. Roger finds a grove just before dark. At its center stands an immense hollow tree. Oh god, we're going to, Halloween Town. Roger crawls inside and huddles against its bark for warmth. It protects him from the biting wind outside. As he settles into a comfortable position, his breathing slows and he drifts off to sleep. He wakes the next morning to terrible hunger pangs. Are we gonna become a cannibal or something like Wild Man? He crawls out of the tree and onto the dewy forest floor. He scrounges around looking for food. He happens upon a large growth of mushrooms. Oh, this would turn out bad. Eat the mushrooms. Roger consumes the mushrooms with a desperate ferocity. They have a bitter taste, but Roger's hunger allows him to chew through it. The music suddenly got really different. As his belly fills with the mushrooms, he starts to feel ill. His head begins to spin. His manner of thought shifts and becomes fluid. Roger sees the world around him as a part of him. Or he is a part of it. A very small part. A moat. The homeowner was right. In part. Personal property is a construct, but habitation is not means of ownership. He did not own the immense tree anymore after sleeping in it than he did before knowing of it. The moat really landed on the tree. In the morning he came upon some mushrooms and began thinking of the world before itself. What am I even looking at? It surrendered itself to the soil. I think that's us rotting, right? To the cold damp. To the network. Forsaking hunger. Forsaking words. Words like Roger. And returning home. Yeah. In credits. Yeah, the achievement even says you died by becoming part of the fungal network. So you just basically rotted and the mushrooms have taken your body and decomposed it. Don't eat the mushrooms. Roger wasn't sure if the mushrooms were poisonous or not. He didn't want to risk dying for a single breakfast. He let them be. But the fact remained, he was hungry. He sets out for the edge of the forest at a brisk pace. He skulks for the tree line parallel to the road, to hide his nakedness. As the forest thins, he ducks into alleys and hides behind garbage cans. He smells something on the breeze. It makes him salivate and clench his fist with an aggravated longing. Bright red. Something catches Roger's eye. A fire station. Yeah, we're gonna eat that. We're gonna eat that fire truck. They might be able to help. There's a lot of paths in this life. Go to the fire station. Reason compels Roger to stop at the fire station to seek assistance. He knocks on the front door. The man who answers seems unfazed by Roger's lack of dress. Sir, is it possible the station has some clothing you could lend me? Or some food to spare? Got plenty of both. Come on in. Roger's given a baggy t-shirt with the monogram of a defunct company on it, accompanied by some ill-fitting pants. He relaxes knowing he will not be charged with indecent exposure. Terry's in charge of lunch for the station today. He's got pot chili going. Might not be appetizing first thing in the morning, but it's what we got. I would appreciate some, thank you. The fireman nods and hurries back with a bowl of chili and a cold beer. Roger isn't normally one for beer, but it is dark and filling. So you don't mind me asking, let's get you on the street with your pecker hanging out. I went out for groceries yesterday. Was out some woman broke into my house and changed the locks. Couldn't get back in and I had to spend the night in the woods. But why was your pecker out? Like shopping naked? No, the woman had an accomplice who broke into my car while I was trying to get into the house. I tried to stop her from taking the car, but the woman in the house jumped me from behind when I did. Took a bad blow to the head. She stripped me on the porch and her pal took off on my car. The fireman scratches his beard. Why didn't you go to the police? It was freezing out and getting dark fast. I didn't know how to find the station. She took my phone, so I just holed up in there for the night. Glad you made it. Only cold last night. Kinda makes it our slow season. I'm just glad I stumbled into this place. The brick facade helps it stand out. You got any kind of documentation to prove you own that house? Of course, I have the deed in a safety deposit box. But I need my ID to get to it. That bitch took my pants with my wallet still in them. I mean, you would still be on the computer records. Nowadays. You think she's still in the house? Or you took off in the car with her pal? She had no intention of leaving, I can tell you that. That settles it then. I'll get the blues and the horn and get this sorted for you. The fireman lumbers over to a phone on the far wall. A wave of relief washes over Roger knowing a civil servant is assisting him. Still, the fireman's reaction to Roger's story troubles him. He doesn't want the fireman thinking of him as a crazy old man. Worse still, Roger worries he is a crazy old man and just doesn't know it yet. I'm part of him hopes the woman is still in his house, to prove to himself that what he thinks happened really happened. When the police arrive at Roger's residence, they find the homeowner barricaded inside the upstairs bedroom. I think this is the good ending. I think we found it. Like, I mean, there's like a bunch of more endings, but, you know. Revealing that the house is hers, she'd been there all her life. It's her child home. She demands the police get a warrant to search the premises, but she's unable to provide personal ID or proof of residence. Bearing no legal claim to the property, she cannot refuse him entry. They are unable to locate Roger's wallet, believing the homeowner has destroyed it. Roger's social security card and birth certificate are recovered from the premises, which he uses to acquire the deed from his safety deposit box. With the proper paperwork secured and presented to the authorities, Roger is permitted entry to his home. The homeowner is taken into police custody. Roger spent the next several years checking on the homeowner. She was transferred between a variety of state mental institutions. Well, how did she take the car then? He eventually lost track of her in the system. He nearly forgot about her altogether until his car was recovered. It was unearthed at a site in Nevada, where BlackRock was breaking ground on the construction of a new housing complex. Roger put the car out of his mind. He didn't allow himself to worry about the homeowner. He kept his shotgun at his bedside and slept easily. That's a good ending, yeah. Follow the scent of food. Roger's hunger takes hold of him, demands satisfaction, so he follows the scent in the air. He finds his way to the nearby Ultra store. I'm still naked, by the way. The welcomer at the door barely notices him, distracted by a handheld gaming device. Damn gamers. Roger wanders the vacant halls of the store until he finds men's clothing. He grabs a simple outfit, a pair of socks, and some sneakers. They head straight for the ready-made meals by the self-checkout, having hot pizzas for breakfast. Roger grabs one of the boxes and takes a seat on the floor in front of the display. He uses the box as a plate and chows down on the warm treat. A bit sleepy, but satisfied, Roger takes a moment to think. With some warm clothes and a full stomach, the answer strikes him almost immediately. Roger shuffles out of the store, leaving discarded pizza boxes and tags in his wake. Makes his way to the ATM outside the store's entrance. Automaton orifice? Roger reads the display and looks down. He sees the arms... Wait. He sees the ATM's orifice? He slides his arm inside. It is cold. Pulsating. Roger looks up at the display. His fingers grope around the inside of the orifice for the keypad. Roger feels the raised shape of the numbers and the keys. It pokes his pin into the pad. The ATM produces his funds. Roger pays for the clothes and pizza while checking out some additional supplies. Roger never committed a criminal act. He was distressed to discover how easy it was. At his own house in broad daylight. No one paid any attention as he hooked a hose up to the gas tank outside the house. No one batted an eye when he broke the kitchen window, or ran the gas tank's hose through it. Not even when he threw the lid Zippo inside. You're gonna burn, alright. The neighborhood only took notice when they heard the result. The fire department was first to arrive on the scene. Roger was impressed by the response time. Thankfully, their investigative abilities left much to be desired. They declared the fire a natural accident caused by a gas leak. Roger was able to claim the full amount of his insurance policy and use the money to buy a home closer to his grandchildren. I just got the arsonist achievement. What kind of ending was this? Oh, I mean, I guess crime does pay. Or counter-crime. Alright, let's break down the door. Hide in ambush. Roger wasn't sure he could make it to the kitchen and back before the homeowner reached him. He presses himself against the corner wall by the bottom of the staircase, hoping he will remain out of sight. The homeowner's heavy footfall makes it easy to follow her movements. Roger sees the barrel of his shotgun slide for the entryway. CQC. He grabs hold of it and rushes around the corner. The homeowner falls back on the stairs. Roger yanks the gun away from her with his good hand. The homeowner stares at Roger and tries to sit up. Roger brings the butt of the shotgun down on her face. He presses down, grinding and twisting into her. Her smile peeks out at him from around the gun's stock. She reaches for the trigger. Roger pulls the gun away and brings it down on her face. He does it again, and again, and again, relentlessly fragmenting and distorting her features into a puddle. He was satisfied when he could no longer see her eyes. The police arrived shortly after. A neighbor called 20 minutes earlier due to the sound of breaking glass, followed by repeated muffled blows. As Roger and his defense team could not adequately explain the circumstances leading to him viciously beating an unarmed woman to death in his home, and one police were never able to identify due to excessive facial and dental trauma, missing fingerprints, and a lack of documentation, the jury found Roger Cormack guilty of first-degree homicide. The prosecution was able to convince him Roger had kidnapped the woman and killed her when she attempted to escape his home. Roger now inhabits a cell in death row, awaiting lethal injection. End credits. Okay, take your house back. I have rotisserie chicken cooling off out here. I'll be eating it in my dining room before it's room temp. The homeowner attempts to shut the door on Roger. Roger swiftly jams his foot between the door and its frame. He presses his face into the gap his foot provides. I don't think you heard me. Roger shoulders the door wide open. The homeowner stumbles back into the kitchen. You forgot your chicken. Get the chicken. just leave. Just get the chicken. Is she gonna teleport the chicken into her hands? Roger turns around to collect his groceries. You see someone analogous? Yeah, see, here's the thing again. You see someone analogous to the homeowner devouring his rotisserie chicken. Maybe they are twins. The homeowner behind Roger grabs a paring knife. The homeowner clamps a hand over Roger's mouth and shoves a blade into his back. Roger tries to bite the homeowner and break free. Her hand remains firmly clamped over his mouth. He can taste the tang of her blood, with an unexpected acidity. The homeowner gently lowers Roger to the floor. Roger tries to get up, but grows weaker as blood pumps through his heart, and out his back. The homeowner keeps him pinned to the floor and presses down to strain his breathing. Roger grows tired and slips away into calm and reassuring dark. The homeowner's analog grabs the grocery bags and carries them inside. He sets the bags on the floor and steals a glance at Roger. We have plenty to eat tonight. There may be enough to store in the freezer. We need to dress and quarter it first, see what there is. Now close the door. Won't tolerate a draft. The homeowner's analog grabs the door and throws it shut. The going is on the house, safeguarded from the eyes of prying neighbors by a door and some drapes. Stand your ground. Never time for chicken. I'll get it when you're gone. Be sure not to leave too often, Roger. I have a habit of roosting in unattended spaces. Roger hears a car stop right outside. Looks out the window to see what's going on. The homeowner waves from the driver's seat of his car and disappears down the road. It can't be! Roger whirls around. The homeowner is no longer in the kitchen. He proceeds to clear the house, room by room until he's sure. She's gone. Roger spent the next few days gathering up every trace of the homeowner's presence and passed it on to the authorities. Doilies, table runners, old drape runners, candles. It seemed like she lived there for years, leaving things in odd places only someone familiar with the space would. It took Roger an additional half-day just to rearrange the furniture. Thankfully she hadn't moved in on her own. Then, there was nothing left for Roger to do, except his grocery shopping. He decided to have his groceries delivered by a boy from the neighborhood for a while. He didn't want to leave his house alone. He started to feel silly about it after a few weeks passed. Police couldn't locate his missing car. I like how the shed is just shed. Like it literally just says the word shed on it. He bought a junker so he could handle his errands around town. Roger didn't notice the walk from his car to his house anymore. The only thing that worried him is whether or not he could turn his key when he got home. A shadow passes by the window. So, that's it for This Is Not Your House. I was wondering if they were going to do the dimension twist, but it turned out not to be the case. Now, I think the homeowner while you could have some grounded explanations, and clearly they were able to be defeated by just typical normal violence, I do think there was a supernatural element to them. Now, there could have just been possibly twins or something, or just, you know, you just didn't really, like, view them very easily. That person just could look kind of similar, but from a distance looked like the same person. But I do think there was a supernatural element to them, like they were kind of like a cryptid witch kind of thing. So not like all-powerful demigod-like entity, but more just like a very odd, bizarre person. But a bit of a surreal game. I would say it's a bit similar, not that the developers were making it similar to something or inspired by something, but more in the school of... There's a certain school of artistic design in indie games, specifically, usually horror games, or at least some surreal horror leanings. And I'll try to name some of them. The games I play from the one developer, like I Live Under Your House, etc., etc. All their games have that same kind of vibe. Milk Bag and Stuff and Bag of Milk have that same kind of vibe. And there's certainly been some other games and developers I've played that have that kind of vibe. I'm not sure what you would really label it. Who's Lila? Also similar, more detailed than this, but similar feel. I wouldn't really call it pixelized Lynchian. I feel like that's like a little overcomplicated. But they generally all share a similar pattern of like there's like a lot of noise. Like a noise in the story, noise in the art, noise in like the sound design, the writing, everything. And they really weaponize the noise against you, the player, like they do with the set and atmosphere. But interesting, kind of surreal game. Kind of like a Twilight Zone or Outer Limits episode, or a little bit of an odd tale. I do think there was some symbolism going on for some other things there. You might have all saw it too, or you might have interpreted things a little differently depending on your perspective and stuff like that. I think there was some metaphors here and there, yeah, definitely. But yeah, once again, interesting game. Anyway, so thank you all for watching play This Is Not Your House. I'll see you guys later, and take it easy.